Welcome to It's This or Drugs, a podcast where we talk about books we're reading to survive these dire and stupid times. I'm Amanda.
I'm Christina.
This is Hannah.
This is Sarah.
And we are your hosts.
We did it.
Yeah, we did do it.
Barely.
What do you mean? I was on my stuff.
You were, and then for whatever reason, even though it's impossible for me to know, I thought you were looking at me to be like, are you going to say your name? And I was like, no, wait, am I supposed to go next?
Sorry, guys. I was looking at my Kindle and thinking about how to pronounce an author's name. And I was like, wait a minute, oldest first. Oh, no, that's me.
That's you.
Nobody will know once Hannah edits out that long pause.
I think we should leave it. Leave it. We're human.
We need a producer that can put in like cricket sounds and stuff.
I could try.
I think I could do it. I can manage some cricket sounds.
Yeah, I think Amanda could too. So I picked the book this time. I'm just going to tell everybody what it is before we jump into other conversation. The book that we read is called What You Are Looking For is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama. And it was translated by Allison Watts. So that is what we read. Some of us listened. I listened. Thoroughly enjoyed the audio performances. Really good. But how is everybody doing before we talk about the book? What's been happening?
Well, Lana Del Rey has this song called Summertime Sadness, and I feel like that sums up how I'm doing. But the Summertime Sadness, that's like the techno remix. So I'm still enjoying the summertime, but I am very sad.
Same.
I am always sad in the summer because it's too hot. And I didn't get my garden going this year. And the stuff that I did get going, maybe 30% of it got demolished by some invisible caterpillars or something before it even got like 2 inches out of the soil. So have I gone back out to try something else? No, because by this point, everything's usually established and like I can go out there and enjoy big plants, and it just feels nicer when you're standing out there in 95-degree heat. But there's like, 6 or 7 things, pretty small still, poking up. And then a massive Thai basil plant, which is nice, but that's sad. And this morning I was researching screenslaver costumes, which you only know screenslaver if you've seen The Incredibles 2. And one of the kids was just very, very convinced he needs that costume. And then he's mad that it's not a costume. And then we talked about making the costume up. And then I told him, had to explain what a balaclava was, or baklava if you're somebody else in my family. And trying to get him to say balaclava, he tried to ask his dad if he had one. And he kept saying like babla. I couldn't even understand what he was saying. He couldn't figure out how to say that. But if you're listening and you have a screenslaver costume in size 5T, hit me up.
I just had to Google that. It's kind of creepy.
Screenslaver? It is creepy.
Yeah.
He wants to be that for Halloween, which isn't months, for months. And so that was making him sad because I have we're not buying any costumes until Halloween rule because there are so many costumes in this house.
Fair.
That's reasonable.
Well,
Life has been an emotional roller coaster for me this week, but it's also had some very nice moments. So, you made me think of something that my youngest did. And it was a shout out to her Aunt Amanda because she told her grandmother that I have been taking burping lessons from Aunt Amanda. It's like this is why I sound so good when I burp.
Nice.
Rage.
Just doing my job.
She learned from the best, everybody.
Seriously.
Sarah said something about invisible caterpillars, which is a great segue into how my summer is going. I have been playing Pokemon Emerald on my phone.
Really?
I have an emulator And years ago,
I'm so lost.
there's just
I know
like,
what it is.
basically you can get a way to play Game Boy games on your phone, and that's called an emulator. I'm oversimplifying things, but you just get it on your phone. Mine is called My Boy, and you can put Game Boy games on it. So
That's my boy.
I forget that I have it, and then I get on an airplane and I realize I don't have any games on my phone except for my emulator that can be played offline. So with some recent flights that I had, I started a fresh game of Pokemon Emerald, and my caterpillar has evolved into a butterfly. I don't remember any of their names because I just let my child name the Pokemon. So they're named things like Batter because it's a Zubat. Everything ends with or E. Stronger is the Makahita one. So anyway, that's what I've been using to distract myself, is playing
What was
Pokemon Emerald.
what was the batter one?
Zubat?
No, batter. Nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're talking about like a Caterpie, right? Into a Butterfree after it was a Metapod?
Yeah, this one was
I
actually...
am having a stroke listening to you guys
Nerd
talk about
alert!
this.
I think it was actually the moth one, or it's a different flying one. It's not Butterfree, though. It's really pretty. It's like black wings with yellow and red.
Okay, so you're referring to Weedle.
Yeah, that's the one, I think. And anytime she'll just watch me play.
No,
Oh,
no, a
shoot.
moth one. Oh, no, that's a new Pokemon because Weedle's the one that goes into like a bee. It evolves into a bee eventually.
Yeah,
Oddly
but
enough.
Emerald is so old, you know? Emerald is like Gen 3, and there's...
I mean,
Did we lose like half of our 2 people who listen to the podcast?
I mean, I'm learning.
I
I don't
never
know
played
what.
the Pokemon games on my Game Boy. I thought they were boring, so boring, and I didn't understand the point, so I never played.
I don't know. They're
I
like
play
the
some-
jigsaw puzzle of games for me. It's just like so soothing. Like I'm going to train and I'm going to fight and we're going to win. And I get to collect all the little Pokemon.
Yeah.
I play Cozy Grove on my Switch, but I am like weeks. I've not played it in a couple of weeks, and so I just think about all the food that I have to harvest and all the animals I need to feed, and I'm like, I'm just gonna leave that there.
Oh no.
I
think I've
don't
done
have
too
any
much.
games. I don't have any games on my phone, and I don't play computer games. And this might be interesting for the listener to hear, but I feel like I'm the only one of us that doesn't do like some video game stuff. You guys always talk about like, what is that one game that you do?
Teamfight Tactics?
Don't lump
Oh,
me in
yeah.
there with that. I don't play that.
You were
No.
that game that Hannah was like, we should all start a team or something.
Oh yeah, League of Legends, but
That's
Right.
the one.
Wild Rift would
I
be
didn't- I didn't play
easier.
that.
I feel like Wild Rift is harder, but that's because I played League first.
I
Yeah,
feel like I need
yeah.
to take my meds in order to play that game. It just looks too complicated. There's too much on the screen.
It is a
Feels
lot.
like for me when someone tries to like explain a new game that involves a lot of strategy, where I'm just like, you lost me at the first 30 seconds trying to explain how to do it. I used to play Mario Run on my phone, but after I beat it, it wasn't really that fun anymore.
While we're on the topic of games, Sarah is the fastest Dutch Blitz player that I know. I taught my sister-in-law how to play Dutch Blitz when she was
Aw.
here, and she loved it because they play skip bow in their family, but you have to wait for somebody to do their turn in skip bow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in Dutch Blitz, you're not waiting on anybody. She
Nope.
flew, and I was like, maybe Sarah will have a contender.
Ooh, this is
Mhm.
interesting because so far in my life, I have not met my match.
Yeah.
And I haven't played with like a ton of people, but I am known by everyone.
I'm
who
ready
has
for
played.
I'm ready for you to lose. I need you to lose back.
I have lost. I think I've lost like twice ever. And I think both times it was to Ryan.
I just love it. It's fun to me. And it, like, my sister-in-law was saying, it's nice because you're not waiting on anybody. It's just like you're playing with people, but it's almost like you're parallel playing because
Yeah.
you're just kind of doing your own thing and reacting to stuff.
My favorite part is that I don't care if I lose games. Like, I'm not a sore loser at all. And that's not like, oh, I'm not a sore loser. I'm just not. I love to play games. My favorite part of that game is when it doesn't even have to be me. When somebody starts really quickly, like getting cards out in the middle and you just hear the like tap on the table really fast, like, and everyone starts freaking out, like, what's happening? What's happening? That's my favorite part. It's not winning. It's the anxiety of everyone.
The low stakes anxiety. Yeah.
Right. Because it's just a game. Don't tell my husband I said that. It's just a game. But
well, this was fun. Should we talk about the book?
We should.
So I will briefly describe it and then we can give our readings and then we'll give a spoiler warning. I'll talk a little bit about why I picked it. So when it was my turn to pick a book, what I tried to do was pick a book that we could all read and not know the genre of. And by the way, I forgot the genre of this book by the time I started it. So I still had that experience, but I tried it with a book and then the book was not the vibe. It just was not. Still a good book, but then I just looked for something cozy looking and I had saved this book a long time ago in my Goodreads and everybody wanted to read it or everyone was okay with reading it at least. So we dove in and it's just a sweet book that centers around this woman who works at the library and people who come in and visit looking for something. And she guides them to unexpected books and adventures and life changes. I really enjoyed this book. It was what I needed right now, something gentle. And for me, I would rate it a 4.5 out of 5 stars just because it was so nice. The writing was great. It wasn't too deep in any place and was a nice change of pace. Christina.
Rating first?
Yep.
5 out of 5. I rate partly, I think, for the emotional impact I feel from the book. And it was just really good. It was just a beautiful one. It hit so many different chords. And I love how it all came together at the end and everything it had to say. So, yeah, I loved it.
I'm probably a 4.5 too. I liked it. It was enjoyable. Part of me, because of the, not knowing the genre, which I didn't really look into it at all. I was kind of waiting for, is there going to be something magic or shocking or what is it? What is it going to be? Is the librarian going to be magical or imaginary or she wasn't actually there at all? Also, for me, that's also coming off of the book that we read last time too, where, they're obviously very, very different. But I thought it was lovely. I thought it was enjoyable. Like Christina said, I haven't cried reading a book in a really long time because #dead inside, but I could have. And I thought, especially the mom one, the one, I can't remember any of their names, but the one with the little girl, and then the 30-year-old guy who didn't have a job, the artist. I really, really loved those. They just resonated, and yeah, I felt them very deeply. I connected with them, which is nice.
My rating is 5 out of 5. There was not a storyline in this book that I didn't cry, like boo-hoo cry at, and find something like deeply relatable and meaningful about. And I do enjoy like fantasy novels, but I needed something grounding, I think. Grounding while still having this like, I don't know if kismet is the right word, but this kind of like, it's all very faded and everything's kind of interconnected. And I listened to it and there were different voice actors for each storyline. And so seeing how each voice actor portrayed the librarian's voice was really interesting, because the librarian and then the librarian's assistant, those are like the two most consistent characters. But seeing the differences in how those two were portrayed by the different characters was really nice. It was lovely. Yeah, and I cried my eyes out.
I'm really happy that we all liked this book. That makes me feel nice because it's nice when we can all enjoy something together. I guess we've liked all the other ones too in our own ways. So I do have some questions for us to discuss. And if you have not read the book, we all recommend it to you. So go read it. And once you have, just come back to this point in the pod because spoiler warnings from this point on. So my first question and thing that I want to discuss is around the happiness in this book, because I was reading some reviews and some people were saying it's too simple. What, like you can just cure somebody's depression so quickly or stuff like that. I don't think it was oversimplified. I think some people's lives do change like that. Now, you don't often get to see that many concentrated stories together, but that's what the gift of a book is. And I did not have that opinion at all. Does anybody else have thoughts on that?
I don't think that it was, I would disagree with like it's cured their depression. I don't think that that was the point. I think the point was that they were hopeful again, not that they were like 100%. Now everything's perfect again. It was just that they had hope that everything could be okay. Everything was going to be all right. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also like I agree, there's not like a depression, because not everyone was, I don't think, dealing with depression exactly. Like, what are you laughing about? You laughing at me? Oh
No.
my gosh.
No.
The cursed Pillsbury like doughboy over there.
That is so rude. Amanda just called me the Pillsbury dough.
Shut up. You've got a little, it looks like a cursed doll that you're making over there with your thinking putty. That's crazy.
Shout out to Crazy
Anyway.
Aaron's Thinking Putty. Please sponsor us.
For real.
We love you.
Or Crazy Geezer's hand gum if you're me. If your husband got it off Alibaba or AliExpress.
Oh, that's better.
Anyway,
Needs a mouth.
what was I saying? That stupid doll.
Okay, I'll
Crazy
stop. I'll
geezer.
stop.
Take a picture of that thing so we can put it in
I already
pod notes
posted
or
it.
something. Oh,
I'll make it again. I'll make it again. Don't worry.
I think that what the characters were also gaining was just a different perspective, because none of them, like, it's not like they're, before any of their material conditions changed, their perspective shifted. And a lot of it, I think the perspective shift was like, in my opinion, like a lot of them understood that they had agency over their lives and what could be done. And, you know, obviously like they didn't have agency to change everything, but the little decisions that they all made were the things that made the biggest impact, I think.
Yeah, I never read it as they were cured either. I don't know if that's just me, but I saw it as a moment in their story where their paths shifted. And yeah, perspective. And I saw them finding who they were on another level. And when you question, you know, who am I? What am I doing here? What
What am
use
I
am
looking
I?
for?
Where is my place? Like, what's the reason? And they were all in different ways asking questions like that. And I love how the community house played such a big part of them seeing who they were, and that there's a connection. In that last story, it was just like, oh, so nice. The way it tied all the threads together and
Mm-hmm.
kind of sent the message forward.
The book reads a little bit like a collection of short stories that all center around something similar, but the crossovers just that's one of the things I had to talk about, and this is a great transition into it. I loved when those started popping up because it wasn't very long into the book, because the book is short. It's 5 chapters. And those started popping up. I'm trying to remember which chapter it was, but it was soon. And that was so magical for me. I've read some other books where it is like a collection of short stories and then they tie it all together near the end. The Overstory is one example of that, which, in my opinion, that book actually could have just been a collection of short stories and they could have just kept the end part out. But the way that this one was woven together so beautifully, it was like little Easter eggs that you got just throughout the book. I loved that. Were there any that stood out to you?
I loved when, this might not be relevant because I zoned out on this guy for a second that I'm making, but I loved when they, at the end, when they tied in the antique shop owner, that he was the, what was he called? The building manager, whatever he was. I was like, oh, yay. I was hoping that would like come back around. And he lived such a like interesting life. And I loved the like, you know, everyone thought I was running from the law and all this stuff, but it was just a misunderstanding. Is that what you were asking? Okay, good.
Yeah, I loved that too. I also loved when I can't remember his name, but Rio, when Natsumi, I'm getting all of them mixed up. Yeah, and when Natsumi got her job because Tomoka's coworker called her, and Tomoka's the one that worked in retail. And
yes.
Did you catch at the end where it sounds like they were officially dating?
Yes.
Yes.
I was on a little evening walk and I almost did a little heel click. I was like, yes.
Aw. Yes, I loved that.
So good.
Also, I could put like strings together that I don't know that they necessarily were, but when about him like illustrating something for one of the books that the publisher lady might pick up that she was going to publish, you know, it was just so happy.
Yeah.
So, which story did you resonate with the most? Or which story was your favorite? And just a reminder, first was Tomoka, the college grad working in retail. Second one was Rio, who wanted to open his antique store. Third was Natsumi, the mom. Fourth was Hiroya, the depressed artist. And then fifth was Masao, the retired gentleman who worked for the cookie company.
The one that I related to the most was definitely the Hiroya one, the depressed artist. You know, there are some parallels for me with my desire to be a musician and my desire to do that full time, but just kind of feeling like maybe I'm just not good enough, not cut out for it. And it was nice. Overall, it was just nice to see so many people across the board just have renewed hope in themselves and their lives and their futures. But something that like made me weep was when his friend, when he went to his high school reunion, and his friend who was the writer, who he Hiroya had always thought his stories were so good when they were growing up. When after that reunion and after some time had passed, his friend called him and like was in tears and let him know that like, I just got a publisher's deal, like I'm going to be published. And I wanted to tell you first because you were the only one who said something to me about how you were the only one who like made me feel like I could do it.
Yeah, I love that.
I am gonna weep again thinking about that. Anyway,
I love that you brought that up because I think like everyone can forget. You could say one thing to somebody and never say anything to them again, and the impact that one thing could have on them for good or for bad, you know. There you go. I can take a picture of it in my hand.
I'm taking a picture.
For our listeners, Sarah just made another spooky little figurine.
Little
with
freak.
Slime.
He's our friend.
I think he's cute. He looks a little bit like what are they called from the world of
Demon?
Ghibli?
Oh,
Let me tell you what it started as. I was messing around with like the shape of the putty, and I went, that kind of looks like E.T. I bet I can make E.T. Totally looks like E.T.
Well, when you first
It's
held
about
it
like
up,
when
I
I
thought
thought I could draw
Alien.
the
So
horse. Okay, well, good.
we're on the
Kodama.
right track.
It's Kodama.
Kodama. Yep.
Looks like a little Kodama.
But clicky little heads.
New podcast cover photo. He is kind of like our spirit animal, you know? He's surviving these dire times. Only surviving. Not
Something else
thriving.
I want to say before we move on from the Hiroya story is that he was, he'd not been drawing and making art for a long time, even though like he had so much time to do it, until he started like putting himself in a different environment, and with less free time did he feel like he could not feel like he could, but also feel like he had to, like was compelled to make more art.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Amanda. I related, I think, to two of them. Hiroya was one of them, and then Natsumi was the other. I think all of them had elements that were relatable to anyone who has had some kind of questioning of their identity, questioning of, did I make the right choice in my life? Am I doing the right thing? But for Natsumi, I have been in places where people have ideas about what I should be doing as a mom who also has a career. I have experienced people attempting to corner me into work that they think is what's appropriate for moms. And I've also experienced the other side of that, where you are treated like everyone else, although I feel like the majority of where we are in our work culture is not that mothers are treated like mothers, but that they are treated like men. And that's what's viewed as equal. And I talking about what made Amanda weep. That's the story that had me weeping because I'm in my own crisis of I am helping provide for my family, but I also deeply cherish my time with my little one. And just getting to see somebody in the middle of it and see that hope isn't hope can be a drastic change, but hope can also be the small steps towards that change, and believing that you can do something to make something different. And that's what I think a lot of these were too. I also want to call out Masao because falling in love with poetry is one of my favorite things as a poet myself. Getting to watch somebody from the outside get to experience that just warmed my heart and was a really beautiful place to end the book. I loved that. Also, just want to say that as someone who's trying to write and write a lot, I related to having somebody say they believe in me because all of you have been so supportive of what I do. Now I'm going to cry. It means so much to have somebody say they believe in you and look at what you're creating or listen to what you're creating, whatever it is that you're doing, and say, hey, you're doing a good job. So thank you. And also, if you're someone out there who's doing that for somebody else, thank you for doing that, because like Sarah said, you have no idea the difference that you might be making in somebody's day or even their life. So important. Hype people up.
Doesn't cost you anything.
Sometimes I just get on my Instagram, and when I'm going through people's stories, maybe this is so millennial cringe of me, but I like any like cute picture somebody posts, I'm just like, ooh, heart that, ooh, fire that, ooh, check that, heart eyes that, that's so nice, hey, that's amazing, wow, you're doing great. Which, I mean, it's social media, and I don't love social media, but it's like one of the ways that I get to send little bits of encouragement to people, and I love that.
Also, it's like, counteracting all the nonsense, negativity, and like hate that's spewed all over social media. See, that's cute. It looks like a gummy bear.
It does look
Isn't
like
he
a
so
gummy
cute?
bear. I want to eat it.
I really do think I made my spirit animal.
Your little mascot.
Yeah. He's gone now, but I have a picture of him. Forever in my heart.
I love that.
I should send you the picture and have your little one name him. I would like to see what name he would give him.
Oh, he would love to do that too. Maybe something like sparkly because he's a little sparkly guy.
Yeah. Christina, were you about to talk? Were you about to say?
Oh gosh. Every single one of them. You know, Tomoka realizing how to care about herself and for herself. And Rio having courage for himself and for his relationship with Hina, and just the positive feedback he got when he took a chance that made him really nervous and went out there and saw someone in the community doing something that made him think that, oh, maybe I could do what I want to do with my dream and have hope for that. And then it worked out. And that person cared and was sharing, what they did. And then Natsumi. Oh my gosh. I am not in her position. I'm home with my kids, but knowing the stress that she felt, and do I care for them enough? Am I doing the right thing for them? And then, I could empathize and just, oh, what a heavy thing to balance with that and her career that she truly loves, and just being excited for her that she has that thing that gives her so much joy, and then being so angry for her when it's just taken away from her, because she's done something positive for society. They're like, oh, we know better than you. You can't do both of these things. And then
Instead of try to support you and make it to where you can do both, we're just going to say, nope.
yeah. And then the reality of it, that sometimes you're not going to get, a satisfying conclusion where, oh, she got her job back and the other woman, had to go back to whatever she was doing, and just how things can be complicated and bittersweet when you move through a situation like that. I love it. It's like a snowman.
Our poor listener is going to be like, what? Or like dogs seeing a squirrel in the middle of the podcast.
But really. Oh, and as someone who has cried on the floor trying to leave the apartment this week, Hiraya was very impactful. And yeah, I don't think there was a moment where she was trying to say, oh, and then he was all better. No, because I didn't read it like that. It was, yeah, like you guys were saying, I read it as hope. He had hope again, which is one of the things you lose so quickly. And then, feeling like you do have a place, or resonating with someone else who has gone through what you've gone through. When your brain isolates you, it wants you to feel alone. And maybe it's not your enemy. Maybe my brain's not doing that, but you do feel alone and you do feel isolated. And I had some moments this week where I was able to connect with people when I got out the door who made me feel like a person, not like some crazy, creature of darkness and sad miasma, just kind
Little
of
doll that Sarah
looping
made.
around life. Like, because they'd been there in different ways as well. And they said as much. And they said, and we're here now, and things will be changing and shifting. And it was good. I got a lot of reminders to sit down and make peace with the questions and try and reframe things. So that was a really good one too. Very timely. This book was so timely, it's uncanny.
Agreed.
And then Masao, just honestly, that was one of my favorites. We're in very different places in life, Masao and I, but the connections
Which one
he
was that?
made.
Old man.
Okay.
The man
the
who
last
retired.
chapter. Okay.
I guess old man would not be kind to him given his sensitivities. The retired gentleman
Well, I
who
remember
has a
in the
great sense of
beginning,
style.
he talks about how he realized he actually wasn't as old as he thought he was. Like, oh, there's a lot of old people here.
And he got called grandpa by that police officer.
Oh my gosh.
You talking to me?
It was really, really good. Oh, the perspectives that he was finding through, poetry appreciation, through talking to his daughter and meeting her as an adult and just admiring her and what she'd become. That was just really, really nice to read.
Does anyone want to pick up felting now?
I've thought about it a few times, honestly. But I feel like I either heard someone say, and I could be wrong, I need to go fact check this, that it was kind of expensive, that like the wool is kind of expensive. Yeah.
It
I don't
can be.
know.
I think it depends on what material you're using, but I think it can be a
Yeah.
bit more expensive.
I would like to try it. I think it'd be fun.
I think it'd be fun to stab something over and over and over again.
I've got to get this necklace making, mala making out of my system before I start anything else.
Yeah, I have to finish mine. I related to, I won't remember any of their names, even though we've been saying them. The mom, again, similar to Christina, I'm not in her exact situation, but a lot of the things that she said just resonated. She said something along the lines of, why does the one who gives birth have to like change the most, give up the most, sacrifice the most? Which is how it feels a lot of the time. It's not necessarily true, but being pregnant for me and giving birth, but especially being pregnant, was so, so incredibly hard. And way, way harder than I ever anticipated it being. And then if you are a mom, you know the rebirth of yourself that happens like every time you have a baby, and the what I have called identity crisis to a lot of other moms. Like, I feel like I have an identity crisis over and over and over again. And it's a battle to not resent your spouse, who it's like, it doesn't seem like your life has changed, like hardly at all compared to mine, which is not anything that they can control. But man, it's incredibly difficult and incredibly rewarding, and overall just kind of shocking how unprepared you feel for it, even though, this is how the world has gone round since the beginning. How can I feel so lost and so unprepared and like, what's happening to me? And I have I have so much help from my husband, so much help. When she was talking to him and he was like, when you get emotional and you say, I need help, I don't really know what to do. I just need you to tell me like what to do. I'm not going to lie. I got a little triggered by that, because it's like, that's part of the whole burden, is like it's the mental load of having to figure things out. And when it's like, well, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I'm not saying this from my own experience, because that's not my experience with my husband, but I know it's not uncommon. That part, I kind of wanted her to be like, that's the whole point, like, I shouldn't have to tell you what to do. You should just notice and do things that need to be done, because you're 50% of this relationship and you're the dad. And anyway, not to say that anything like negative about the book, just that part was too real, So I related to her in those ways. And the struggling artist, I related to that lost feeling, because I have always wanted to be a mom for as long as I can remember. I am extremely blessed to be living the life that I desired. I've always dreamed of living the life that I have right now. But when I didn't have this life, when I didn't have a husband, there were years where I felt like he felt like I am completely lost. I feel totally useless. What am I supposed to do? Like, I'm just working a job for the sake of working a job. But there was a time where I wasn't working a job at all. And it was a very, very low point for me, because there's only so much that you can control. It's not like I was out. You can't just go to I mean, I guess sometimes you technically could just go find a husband, but I wasn't like out husband shopping and let me just find a guy and I'll find my husband and have kids, that's like a long process. And when the times when he was comparing himself to his brother and like he was the lesser child and he was, gonna go extinct, that's rough we obviously are all siblings, and comparison is so hard. And I went through like really rough times of comparing myself, and I'm grateful to not be in that place anymore. I related to him because of that. Hopefully that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. It's interesting how this book had happy-ish endings for each of the characters, yet brings up so many deep reflection points for the reader. And I think that is because we get to see the struggle that happens beforehand and the transparency in their thoughts. It makes them so relatable.
This is probably the most, I don't know how you guys feel, but the most relatable book. And I feel like probably the deepest discussion we've had from a book on the podcast, at least. We were reading books before we started the podcast, obviously, but
I'm having a hard time remembering yesterday, so but I think you're right that's kind of one of the things or the feeling I was trying to capture, is that this cozy book has brought up so much stuff because it is stories. It's 5 people's stories, and I think there is still some magic or serendipity, whatever you want to call it, around Sayuri Komachi, the librarian. I've seen like things like that happen in my own life, though. Interestingly enough, that a little bit of that happened when I said, hey, I want to read this book, and I sent the picture of it in the chat, and that was just me scrolling through my Goodreads looking. I was like, oh, there's a cute cat on the cover and it's translated from Japanese. This looks nice. And then Christina was like, oh, I just bought this book.
yeah, that was cool. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So
Did you
that's how
guys
the
catch
kickoff
that?
happened.
It's the same translator as Sweet Bean Paste.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Oh, that's sweet.
Oh,
That Sweet Bean Paste was the first book we ever read, not for the podcast, but for our book club. And if you're listening and wondering, which was a Hannah pick, right? Hannah
Yeah.
picked that. Yeah. This was all Hannah's grand idea.
Has been passed on now to another book club in the world.
Oh.
Because my mother-in-law's book club, she chose it when it was her turn. She
No
was looking for
way.
one, and I thought of Kim, and yeah.
That's awesome.
And they all loved
it.
it. They had like great discussion about it, and other people looked up information about the history of leprosy colonies, and it just was a really great book for them. So
I love that. I would like to very briefly give a public thanks to the translators of the world, because they give us access to stories that we otherwise would not have access to. I got introduced to Haruki Murakami by our collective friend Sawyer. I read, I think, 1Q84, translated from Japanese, and that was the gateway into me reading more translated books. And think of all the stories that are just out there that are waiting for a translator to give us access to. And translating the work. Can you imagine the work? What a gift it is that we get to have access to those stories. And actually, it looks like Michiko Aoyama has only had one novel that's been published translated to English, but there's another one that's expected to come out next month by her.
Ooh.
It's called The Healing Hippo of Hinode. I don't know how to say it.
Let's go.
Heart. I know. I'm so excited. Aww. So anyway, shout out to them. Also, Amanda, maybe you and I can both speak to this, but I want Christina and Sarah and anyone else who's listening who read the book on paper to understand just how fun it was to listen to this book. In particular, in whose chapter was it? It was Hiroya.
Yes.
So
The
Hiroya,
keyboard sound, is that what you're going to talk about?
yes,
Yes.
Did somebody do that like with their voice?
yes,
Wow.
and also gave Sayuri Komachi a very deep voice.
Yeah.
I
And
love that.
Yes, the comic nature to just how everybody perceived Ms. Komachi. I think the voice actors did a great job of trying to capture that, but just like the anime influence on how that part was read, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
so good.
It was
I
great.
loved it. So good.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Awesome.
I'm so glad they did that because I loved that he was just obsessed with manga and had read so much, and that's how it framed his view of her in like every way.
Yes.
The
And the
panda,
world
the giant
generally.
panda
Yeah.
character.
Yes.
Huge freaking panda.
Oh.
Something that I want, and this is probably just because I finished the book this morning, but the last felted, the little bonus gift that,
The crab.
yes, the crab.
The Masao
How
guy.
do you say his name? Masao. How, like, at the end when he was giving it to his daughter, she was like, do you remember the crab walk that we did when I was in elementary school? And she was like, you told me that, like, I'm gonna butcher this, but like the significance about like the way that crabs walk is they walk sideways so they get to take in more of the scenery and you get more of the view. And how, just like Sarah said, the things that you say, the small, seemingly insignificant things that you can say to somebody, like the way that those people take on the words you say and make their own meaning of them and can mean so much more to them than what you ever thought it could. She had thought of that, the way that the crab walked and what her dad said, and like it carried that with her into adulthood, and that really like shaped her worldview. And I thought that was really special.
Also, just like saying things to people when you think about it. Sometimes I feel like we can think things about somebody and we just keep them in our head and we don't actually tell them because it might be like awkward or uncomfortable for both parties. But there's somebody in all of our lives who has made it a point to tell me over the years, multiple times, how much they love me just for who I am, just for the way that I am, not because of what I do or anything like that. And as somebody who struggles with feeling like I am only valuable to people based on what I can give them, what I can provide for them, that has grounded me in such a profound way. And that might not be the easiest thing to just say somebody, that's not like, oh, your dress is really pretty today, like I said, can be awkward and uncomfortable on both ends, but is so meaningful to me. I loved this book so much because there were so many things to learn from it and it was so relatable, but I didn't feel depressed at the end of it,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I trusted the author after like the first chapter, I think, which is not my norm. I did not read the end.
She wasn't like, I just assumed everyone's going to die like the book Sarah.
I did not. I did not. And I don't honestly know why I trusted her. That's not my default state of being when it comes to books that I don't know the genre of. But I had asked, wanted this book since I saw it in an airport, months ago. And I didn't have space for it at the time in my backpack. And then you guys, unbeknownst to all of you, really, because I just ordered it when you guys got me books for my birthday. They didn't have it at the bookstore, but you guys got me this for my birthday. And then Hannah was like, guess what book we're reading for book club? And it's the one. And it really did call to me. What you were looking for is in the library sometimes, but I think that was a metaphor for so many things. For what you're looking for is there, and a connection point of community. And community can just be a few people, it can be a broader group of people, but it really is and can be everyone you have had some type of contact with, meaningful or otherwise to you. And it reminds me of a lot of things that I've loved over time that have reminded me of that in a good way.
I made a placenta.
It does look like a placenta. Oh no.
Good grief. Oh,
Oh, do you guys remember when our little brother got traumatized at the birth
I do.
center?
I was there. What a beautiful day.
He walked around
My-
a corner and saw something that he wished he hadn't.
Saw that
My
big old
oldest.
placenta in the bowl.
My oldest saw a picture of one of the, I think my youngest placenta on my phone. Accidentally. What was that? And then
Oh my gosh.
for a while after that, anytime we were looking at pictures on my phone, he would say, I don't want to see the placenta.
The tree of life.
I'm like, but look how cool it is. What's in blood?
Oh, it is jarring to see at first when you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, is it any worse than a tenderized steak? Probably not.
So, ending on a fun question. If you could felt any little felted thing and have it look adorable, what would you make?
I want to felt that little guy I made who still needs a name.
I like that. That would be very cute.
I'd want to felt this little freak. Beans. Give me a
Bean?
girl. Bean. I would say Daphne, but she's just one color, so it might not be it. I feel like doing beans would be more visually interesting. Daphne's over here sleeping on the chair like a little donut.
Oh, a donut would be fun.
That would be cute.
I think a felted flower would be fun, like a dahlia, because I think that would be pretty. But I also lately have really enjoyed looking at pangolins, and I think a felted pangolin would be.
You sound like Benedict Cumberbatch trying to say penguin. What are you saying? What is a pangolin?
Penguin.
Penguin.
The first time I said pangolin to someone, they thought I meant to say penguin, and I said no, I meant to say pangolin.
What is that?
You don't know what it is?
No.
Google it right now.
How do you spell that?
Pangolin.
Oh, I know what a pangolin is.
Oh,
It's
cute.
so
I thought you were talking
cute.
about some penguin Pokemon or something.
Oh.
I mean,
Those
it
are
looks like a
cool.
Also-
Pokemon.
Felting like no face or like a soot sprite, and that would be fun.
Oh, soot sprite. I would love that.
The little baby on its tail.
Yeah, I thought about Soot Sprite. It feels like just about the level of felting that I could reach before I needed to switch to something else, and it would be really cute.
Yeah, that's why I thought a donut. That sounds like a nice beginner item.
Mm-hmm.
A dinner roll from Lambert's.
That's probably what I would do. It's probably what my beans would end up looking like. A little
I
dinner
knew it.
roll.
Somebody has already done it multiple times. Isn't
Oh,
it
I
cute?
don't
Oh,
believe
yeah. That turns out so good.
My oldest is obsessed with this and he doesn't even know what it is, but he saw some No Face branded, like Spirited Away branded stuff in a used bookstore semi recently. And it was like a major battle trying to leave that bookstore without like the graphic novel that was like $25 and a journal that had No Face on the cover. What is that? Who is it? Tell me what it is. Tell me what it's about. Okay, okay, I will. I just don't want to pay $30 for this book that you can't
That's what
read.
epigenetics is. He was like, I feel that in my bones.
Like obsessed every time he sees it. What is that?
They had it at Blockbuster when I went to the last Blockbuster.
Aw.
There was a whole Studio Ghibli section.
No,
Well, this has been fun. Good conversation.
so fun.
Who's next?
That's what I was
Me.
about to ask.
Amanda.
Me, and good luck to all of us because I don't know what I'm going to pick yet.
One episode, maybe we will be able to announce what the next book is.
I was
Look for it in the
gonna
notes.
do maybe Good Omens, but I like Terry Pratchett, but obviously Neil Gaiman. Boo!
Yeah, that book is really good though. We
It
can
is
talk about
sitting in
some
my
similar
TBR
ones.
right now, like in
It
a
is?
literal stack, like a physical presence.
Well, I'll pick one. I'm also going to start volunteering at my library, so might find a book
That sounds
that
fun.
way.
Yeah, what you were looking for might be in the library.
Might be in that little library.
I love that. Well, folks, thanks for listening and join us next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.